type of things, and Acorn TV did as well, and it's called A Place to Call Home, and it's set in Australia, New South Wales, in the early 1950s, or in the 1950s. It's about a nurse, and there's a lot of undercurrents, and she's Jewish, and she has a rough background, obviously, during the war, and there's intrigue, and there's familial, mysteries that believe me, they'll be unfolding even more. Like I said, I know more than Jane now, and I won't say anything. But there's a matriarch who's really a biddy, and we don't like the two biddies necessarily. The old, nosy one lady, and then the lady who runs the family, basically, and she runs the family. But there's lovely people.
They're a little over the top. It's kind of I call it mugging. They're mugging all the time. And I thought the matriarch was a stage actress, but she's done more TV and film. So, I don't know why they tone her down. We've seen some new scenes that are better with her. So maybe she'll evolve as things go. But it's very intriguing and so beautifully produced. And beautiful scenery.
Yeah, beautiful scenery in Australia. Actually, the show was canceled after its second season, but there was sort of a public outcry. They obtained further funding, and it concluded successfully after a total of 6 seasons in 2018. 7 Television is the big network in Australia, and none of these people you would have heard of, so I'm not going to name the actors involved, but the men who are in their 40s are quite attractive. And then there's
one of them was in Outlander that people would know.
Right. So anyway, it's great, and we've got hours of entertainment to come, because I think we're on the...
It's worth a watch. My friend Kathy, thank you, Kathy, for making the recommendation.
So it's they're half-hour shows, correct? Is that right?
Yes.
Yeah, they're half-hour shows, so it's easy to watch 3 or 4 at a time. And we've only watched, I think, 4 or 5, so we got a long way to go with 6 series as well. First time I had to do that, so it's probably a good time to take a little break. But as we go to break, we are heading away. And when we head away for a period of time, one thing that's great is we have people who do an unbelievable job of taking care, in combination of our dogs, both somebody who stays here and our neighbor Ken, who is an invaluable person to us. And they're spoiled. These dogs are spoiled. They're always spoiled, but they're even more spoiled even when we're away, because they get great care.
Yes, yes. I have a fabulous dog sitter who he really knows his stuff, and they've known him forever. In fact, he popped in here. I wanted to show him some stuff, and the dogs went absolutely bonkers. They just love him to death. It's really good. I can't bring myself to taking my dogs to, stay at a kennel. We had a bad experience with one of my mom's dachshunds when we were growing up, so never, ever, ever. So find yourself. Rover's got great dog sitters, pet sitters, so go there. We've got our great one. And then Ken, our neighbor across the street, fills in when Aiden has to go to work. And so these dogs, we have a corgi and a dachshund / Jack Russell mix. Need I say there's energy in this house?
Energy aplenty in this house. More energy than I have in my voice. I'll take a little rest. We'll come back. We'll talk about some music and some other stuff as well. It's Reconcilable Differences with Danny and Jane, part of Arts and Lifestyle Wednesday, presented by Cinematic Vision.
More of Danny's Reasonably Irreverent podcast after this.
We're here at the 23rd Street Brewery with Matt Llewellyn. And Matt, basketball's over, football's still a few months away, but there's always fun to be had at the 23rd Street Brewery.
Absolutely. We've always got something going on here. The games are always going on. It's a great place to come enjoy everything out on the patio. Beautiful scenery out there. Great beer. I've got a great brewer, great food. It's always fun here at the brewery.
And the atmosphere is great and friendly and warm, too.
We always want to make sure you're a lot happier when you leave than you were when you came in.
Always fun here at the 23rd Street Brewery at 23rd and Castle. Make sure to come by when you're in Lawrence. Always great to catch up with Dr. Brad Whittle of Advanced Sports and Family Chiropractic and Acupuncture. Everybody wants to make every year a great one mentally and physically, and certainly ASFCA can help in that regard.
Chiropractic, acupuncture, physiotherapies. We're going to address the body and the mind to keep you in great shape. With winter moving into spring, we don't want to have the opportunity to get hurt or to be slow and not do what we used to do, right?
Absolutely right, and you can do that in a variety of ways.
we can. We love looking at the body and how it moves, looking at the posture and how it holds us to be strong, to be safe, and really to help us do those things we love to do.
The wide variety and range of services you can get helps in that regard at Advanced Sports and Family Chiropractic and Acupuncture. 7 locations all around the Kansas City area. Find the one that's most convenient for you. And for more information, visit asfca.com/Danny. That's asfca.com/Danny.
If you'd like to join these and other fine sponsors and market your business on Kansas City's #1 rated podcast, contact us at Danny@DannyKlinkscale.com. Look forward to working with you.
Welcome back. It's the California edition of Reconcilable Differences with Danny and Jane. We have everything ready. We got our booking passes today as we tape, and it's amazing. We're flying Southwest. Jane was at the ready right at the appointed time, 10:15. Bang. We still got B41.
B40 and 41. What the hell? Everybody's they're buying the upcharge. What a joke.
Well, the thing is, obviously it works for Southwest because that many people are buying it that even if you immediately go on there and you haven't prepaid for the upgrade, then you're going to get B41, which that's all right. Doesn't really matter. I don't mind sitting in the back of the plane, so that's one thing that is, and Jane does not like sitting in the back of the plane. So as usual, we'll be a married couple sitting not together on the plane, but that happens all the time. So, well, since our last visit, it was our annual trek, which we talked about on the music podcast with Tim last week to see the Mavericks. 3 nights. Many people see all 3 shows. This was unique in the fact that we saw Thursday's show. Saturday's show, our beloved guitarist Eddie Perez was at his daughter's high school graduation, so he didn't perform that night, but everybody loved all the shows. Jane's sister and my brother-in-law, they went to the show on Friday and said it was fantastic, and they always do little twists and turns, and there's not trepidation now, because the last couple times I did have a little pre-concert trepidation that, is this going to just seem tried and true or whatever, and it's not. It's fresh and amazing every time. And this time around, they played 6 songs out of the first 10 songs were off the new album. And Raul Malo has the confidence to basically not even say, hey, we're going to play a new song. They just played them.
They were fantastic. We'd already heard a lot of them.
Yeah, we knew. We heard them. They've got one song that's just a hoot called Live Close By and Visit Often. It's about people just basically want to have an affair, and that's really funny. And even without 3 or 4 of my favorite songs that they do in concert, which they didn't do, it was great.
Yes. Oh, they were so tight musically, and it's become a little bit more Raoul's show, not just Eddie.
Right.
Twittering
more featuring
all of the women.
Right. More featuring the horns, I think.
Oh, the
also.
horns is fantastic, and our friend
Max,
the fabulous sax player.
And Max is more involved with the production now, I think, and some of the writing. Max Abrams, he's a session musician who we've talked about before. Jane is a text friend of his, and they texted back and forth. We were supposed to see him after the show, but he missed the text. But he texted back the next day and apologized.
Nice guy. Yeah.
So anyway, it was great to see him, and then the accordion player just comes out, and
it's a flourish.
He's very flourished, and if you haven't seen the Mavericks and you're thinking there's an accordion player,
I know you can't understand it.
it. I mean, it's just an unbelievably great mix of wildly
If you want a
different things.
good time and dance and feel like it's uplifting,
go anywhere.
Tongue-in-cheek lyrics, which Raul does so well. This is the place.
And his beautiful voice, which is still in unbelievable form. I think that the time off from COVID, I think did his voice, not that it was ragged before, but I think he's got rejuvenated with his voice. And Knuckleheads is just a great venue for that. And it's basically, we've mentioned we're going to our high school reunion, which now we have bought our tickets, to plane tickets and our tickets in September. It's like going to a high school reunion where people are dancing, and they don't dance anywhere else in their life. There's people there who, there was a couple sitting next to us, and they're probably in their early 70s, I would say. And clearly these people never move.
I know.
I mean, they never, and they were kind of moving around in their seat. They didn't really dance,
yes.
but It's a remarkable entertainment, and the joy that they have on stage is one thing that is sort of a juxtaposition to another brilliant piece that we watched recently, which was the concert in Central Park, the 1982 reunion concert of Simon and Garfunkel, which is brilliant. It's brilliantly sung and played, although each of them apparently didn't really think they were great. And Art Garfunkel, Jane can speak to this. I don't think singers generally ever think they've done their best, but it's great. The only thing is there's no camaraderie between the two. We were so happy when they even patted each other on the back a little bit.
Yeah, you just see the history of not good feelings there. But the good news was they saw the bazillions of people, in the park.
500,000 people.
500,000 people. They were quite a ways away from the crowd, which was interesting. I wonder if that was a safety thing. So they had to look quite a ways out. Garfunkel, I know what was going on there. He was a little fuzzy. He wasn't quite as focused on his tone. I know that's how he felt. But how he doesn't do these songs. It's a hard thing to pull off, just suddenly go out there and do something you haven't done in years. But their egos, that's what was interesting to watch, is like, I don't know if I've ever seen an ego quite like Art Garfunkel's.
Right, or insecurity, or both. And I think that Paul Simon in this concert really allowed him to step forward a little bit more and let him be featured a little bit more than he probably even should be, really. And it's understandable, the dynamic between the two, because Paul Simon, if Art Garfunkel never existed, Paul Simon would have been a star. Now, some of these songs would be completely different and not nearly as iconic, and some of them wouldn't even exist because Art sings all of some of them. But still,
No, I don't necessarily agree with that. I think they both had insecurities when they were in high school, and they buoyed each other up. And the only way they got out in the scene to show what they could really do was when they were together, when they were young, when their insecurities were so high. That's my gut feeling on this. I could be so wrong.
Well,
but remember,
I think
Art Garfunkel, like you said, was the one who left thinking he'd have a great film career.
And he did actually have a big part in Carnal Knowledge and was well received for that, but it didn't really go anywhere, and neither did his musical career. And Paul Simon is still a super influential musician through the years. But all that aside, and it's difficult to put aside for me, one of the things I like about going to a concert is the fact that the band on stage is having as much fun as you are.
Yes.
And that's why I've never really had a hankering to see the Eagles, because I know this is just a commercial production for them. And it's been helped a little bit more through the years as a couple of people have passed and another couple of people have left. And you get people like Vince Gill in there who are just wonderful people, period. So anyway, another musical thing that is a little offbeat that Jane, I have no information on this. This is all Jane Siemens. Jane's not issue. She texted me the other day saying that she had listened to Pat Boone's Sirius show, XM show, and he's 90.
I know. He just turned 90.
And he's best known for really milquetoast, terrible things. In fact, he's really... It was an unfortunate time where Pat Boone would take some of the greatest sort of R&B tunes of the day and whitewash them, literally and figuratively.
Right.
But he's somebody who loved music, who was in the music industry, and he had some unbelievable stories of everything from the Beatles to Randy Newman.
Oh, yeah. Randy Newman's dad was their family doctor, and so that's how we got to know Randy. And of course, they have this, the Newmans, Alfred Newman, these famous, film scorers of the world. Well, his dad was the doctor, and he introduced Randy. And Pat was so taken by some of the songs he wrote that he and another guy were the first producers of Randy Newman's first album. So on his 90th birthday, I was listening to this amazing show. He was talking about that. He also was smart enough to realize when the Beatles came over the first time that he better sweep some stuff up. So he got some original photographs that are worth how much now? And he's given his money away to third world countries. I can't remember exactly what all he's done, but he's a great philanthropist. He's a wonderful person, and he knows so much history about the music. It's a great show.
Through the years, he's just obviously been a figure that would make poked fun at times. I mean, he was open about his faith for a long period of time. He's sort of, I don't know if I'm
he
sure
still
he's
is.
sure a man of faith, but I mean, I don't think it's quite as upfront as it used to be. And he's an unbelievably influential person in the music industry. His daughter was obviously a big star, Debbie Boone. And
I never found him off-putting as a person.
I didn't either, actually.
I mean, I think that was the thing. Everybody liked Pat, and yeah, they still do. He wouldn't have his own show at 90.